jitters.
No, man, coming back, it's just kind of a lot. Well, here we are, Josh. How you doing, dude?
Doing well, man. Can't complain. I'm doing real fine. How are you doing, Dandy?
I'm doing well. It's good to be back
It is
in
good
the
to be
studio.
back.
I'm kind of glad.
We had a 4 or 5 month hiatus, trying to get some things in order, trying to get our life in order,
It's
figure
been-
some things out.
It's been a little bit of time, Who's really keeping track? Who's really writing things down? You know what I mean?
Time is a man-made construct, so why pay attention to it?
Nah, it's been a little bit of time though. I mean, all in good reason. Some laziness may be thrown in there a little bit. Not saying all of it was productive, but I'd say a good portion of it.
Most of it wasn't, but a good portion was productive, but most of it was not. It depends on what your value of productivity is. Like, what do you actually see as productive? Because for me, I couldn't say like most of that time was productive unless you see like my ability in like performing on gaming now is like kind of through the roof because of all this time I've had to just like perfect my craft.
See, that's where I'm at. Speak for
that's
yourself.
Not really productivity.
Speak for yourself.
But also, I'm doing well. So
I feel like personally, I've had some time to really. Think about this. We've gone out and played. I didn't go out last time when I played soccer. I've kind of
we've been playing soccer for a little bit now. Though.
Once or twice a week.
Get some exercise.
Get some exercise. You know what I mean? I've been learning a couple things here and there, trying to keep myself busy, taking care of things. I'm not saying I'm sitting here and I'm over here Bill Gates. I'm not saying I'm Jeff Bezos. I'm sure he's at a point where he can possibly sit on his ass at some point.
They both are, but that doesn't mean so where I'm at is like I feel like it's a really like common misconception for people to think like once you get money, like all of your work that you could ever do is over, like you're good, you're set, so you can just relax. I'm just like at that point it's like just because I have money, like why does that mean that I should stop doing things that I enjoy? Just because you're working or just because you're doing something that you're getting paid for doesn't mean you don't enjoy it. But from the outside looking in, it could be like, bro, you're working your ass off 5 days a week, but you got millions in the bank or whatever it is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you could not be working. But, like, at that point, like, what would you have me do?
See, where I'm at is if I had enough money, per se, if I had a good amount of money stashed away, or, like, I was already making a good amount of money and I had a source of income that was coming in, I'm doing all the things I love, artistically wise and everything, and I am doing it shamelessly and relentlessly. Not in a necessarily aggressive way, but also probably in an aggressive way.
In a bit of an aggressive way, but not the type of aggressive that you're thinking
not
of.
Not too over the top. I would do it just unapologetically. I'm not I'm going to do whatever I feel art-wise, and if I'm already making a stream of income that doesn't necessarily rely on that art form, I'm going to go full force into that. And if someone has something to say about it, I'm going to say, you know what you can do? You can fuck right off.
You can kiss my ass.
Because guess what? This is how I feel, and where I'm at in this day and age is when, don't get me wrong, people say some stupid shit, and people are gonna get offended. But this is where, if you're really thinking logically, right, and you're like, wow, that offends me. I can't believe you do that. That was a dumb decision. That was a stupid decision. So, like, I'm just expressing how I feel. So what you're saying is my feelings are invalid. So now you're gaslighting me, huh? Guess what? Now you're the asshole. So it's like, it's really at a point where it's like, if I had enough money like that, I would definitely still do the things I love.
See,
more full force.
But that's what I'm saying is, like, only you know what you love to do. So, like, if what you love to do is woodworking, like, that's a hard thing to do. So from the outside looking in, it could be like, dude, you're working your ass off. Why are you doing that? Like, you know what I mean? Well, this is what I enjoy. Like, who are you to tell me what to do with my life just because I have more money than you and I'm in a position to not do anything? Like, that's where I'm at is like just because someone's rich, it's not your prerogative to like exclaim to them how hard they shouldn't be working or like how they should be relaxing or how you wish that you were in a position where you could just like fuck off or have a fallback option. And it's like, once you're in that position, it's not like where I'm at is like once you have like money to do whatever you want, it's not like you're not going to do whatever you want. You still got to go do those things, which some of those things take work. Like you said, like if you have artistic avenues, it's not like that's just going to happen by itself. Like if you want to learn how to play an instrument, it's going to take work. If you want to learn how to draw or paint, it's going to take you fucking up a lot. And if you're not willing to go through the work, then you're not willing to have the rewards that come up on the other side.
Absolutely. Also, if I don't think we mentioned it yet, but we have a rebrand, and we're no longer going to be doing Far From Finished. I mean, we're doing the podcast. It's essentially still the same thing.
So
but
basically, we've been developing unconventionally, and we're far from finished in that development.
that was,
But also, we're fine and dandy.
yeah, fine. Okay. That's like, where are you going with this one, bud? All right. Yeah, no. All right. So from now on, we will be referred as. I mean, okay. We're not going to be referred as, but the podcast.
So, hey, you're fine and dandy. No, my name's Daniel. My name's Josh.
Yeah.
You will not be referring to me as a title.
Podcast is now going to be Fine and Dandy.
Which is just fine and dandy, if you
just-
ask me.
I'm right there with you, bud.
But nah, it's a great adventure to be able to rebrand. I feel like this isn't our first time rebranding, but it's also like I feel like it's just an opportunity to do something new as well as like create something that for ourselves.
We're coming back into it. You know, okay, it's definitely been a journey, and you can look at this and be like, fuck, they're rebranding again, Jesus Christ, you know, but to look at it from where we're coming from, you know, getting started into it is, you can be that person who just comes up with stuff like that. I, in fact, am not that person unless it's just something super ridiculous and silly. Then call me Mr. Magic Man, because I'm coming up with it right away. But when it comes to names and like topics, that takes time.
No, yeah,
for me
sure.
personally.
And also, it's like if it like failure isn't something that happens whenever you try to do something and like don't succeed at that attempt. Failure is whenever you stop trying. Like where we're at is like we've had brandings and we did believe in them at the time, but we've also grown as people and we've also like seen different aspects of ourselves and each other through the time that we've had off. So we just see this as an opportunity to create what we actually want to create. Like it's not that we weren't creating what we wanted to create in the past. It's just more like we have a like extended opportunity to do what we actually would like to execute with.
And you know, it's been a lot that's gone into this. I mean, as you can see, you probably can see. Maybe if you noticed, maybe you haven't. I don't know who you are. So, in the back here, we have some soundproofing. We've got some posters. Got a new table. Gotten chairs.
Don't worry about this garage. It will be soundproof soon.
Hey,
Still work in
look,
progress.
Look, soundproofing the garage. We're not professionals. All right, we're trying. By all means, I am not super qualified for this, but we do our best.
This is not the DIY channel.
Yeah.
So if you guys are looking to us for advice, please don't. We still trying here.
You can look to us for advice on some cases, but when it comes to putting up soundproofing, we know enough.
Where I'm at is just look to us for advice at your own risk. Just understand it. We don't know what the fuck we're doing.
To be fair,
Figuring it out.
Any advice you take from anybody, take at your own risk. Cause it's not, there's no one size fits all for anybody. So
That's
if you're
true.
going to anyone for advice and it doesn't work for you, and then you get mad at them, really that's your fault because you took their advice and you didn't take it with a grain of salt. So
Yeah.
with that being said, but it's been fun. I mean, also been stressful putting everything together. We have a booth in here now. Everything's soundproof.
Booth.
Got all this together. We're on a stage. We literally built this stage right below us. I'm not like trying to suck our own dicks or anything, but I'm really not. But I'm just saying, you know, we've definitely taken time over these. We haven't just been yanking each other's dicks around these past couple of months.
What we've been wanting to do is be able to like take ourselves seriously and take this podcast seriously. So in doing that, we understood that things take time. There's no reason to rush. Like if you're rushing something, then obviously you have a deadline. But this isn't something that has a deadline. This is something that we enjoy doing and that we love doing. So why not put our all into it and make the best product possible? So that's where the stage came from. That's where this studio came from. And that's where the rest of the Fine and Dandy productions are going to come from, because where we're at right now is we're in a position to do whatever we want, the way we want to do it, and not have any repercussions from that.
And we still have a lot planned, a lot that, personally, I have a lot that I still want to do off of this podcast and going further, but it's gonna take a lot of time. Like, first, we got to get this up off the ground, and kind of get this going, and get this where we want to go. But it's a beautiful thing being able to express ourselves here and be able to do how we want to do it. Nothing's gonna beat that. But coming into this, it was, I didn't know what to expect per se. We bought the. If you don't know, I don't think we've said it yet either. Actually, so you probably don't know. But we all moved into a house together. It is 6 of us. 6-bedroom house, there's 6 of us. 5 bedrooms are being used, though. 2 people stay in 1 bedroom together. So
we have a guest room.
We have a guest room. So there's 6 of us in 1 house, which is I'm sure if you're watching this or listening, you're like, holy shit.
It's a lot of personality to deal with.
It's a lot of it's a lot of fun. There's a lot that goes into it, but there are, of course, any time you're in any relationship with people, you're gonna come across obstacles. That's any time, anywhere. If you have a perfect life, I'd like to meet you, please. I want to hear your stories, because that's something else. But yeah, of course we go through things. It's been an interesting ride because the way the house is built, on the bottom there's a garage. And then also we're on the 2nd floor. So what we're in is also
a garage. So essentially what happened is this is a 2-story house that got turned into essentially a 3-story house after Hurricane Harvey. So what they essentially did was just put the entire house on like cement stilts pretty much all the way around and built a whole new garage without tearing down the old garage. So what we did is like basically the way that they set it up is they connected the studio, our garage, the 2nd garage, basically the one on the 2nd floor, to a bedroom. So basically we found this 2nd garage one day and was like, yo, what the fuck? This is just like, they just raised the whole garage. Like, that was so beautiful for them to do, because like this space in itself is useless to anybody that would rent this house that doesn't need a studio or a workout room or something like that. And a lot of people might not even like know how to find this room with how it's hidden, you know what I mean? So it's essentially like, it was almost like perfect for what we were looking for. Like when we were looking for a house to rent together, like obviously we were had the thought in mind to build a studio, but we never thought we would have this type of like perfect environment and setting that we could like set up for ourselves.
Yeah, and we all have, we have different projects that we're working on. We're working with a few different people. So we have Carlos, of course, who does his music, does production, and he's going to work with a couple artists as well. So, it works out perfect for him when he's creating music in here. And then, aside from that, we have Joel, who does video production pretty much, helps edit videos. And he also helps us with our sound here as well. And he's got a lot of projects that he's working on. So, his house has been really great. Oh, and Chance as well. He has some vlogs. So, I would, Chance, what's his YouTube? I don't know.
Chance
Maynard? I want to say it's Chance Maynard _. That's almost, because I remember him telling me it took him. No, it's just Chance Maynard.
I'm sorry, Chance.
Yeah. So he just changed it. It's Chance Maynard, and then Joel's is Teagues TV. They do vlogs and a couple of other things, projects that they're working on.
And then me, Chance, and Brad Woodard are about to start coming back out with Core Vision. It's a project about basketball. Basically, it's a podcast that we all wanted to do together with Brad. We just signed Brad on to do it with us. It's going to be really exciting. We're going to get that started up this week as well. So we just got the interface for that, so it's going to be awesome.
And I'm not the one to just, I'm not going to say this unless it's true. When coming to sports, I promise you that's going to be an amazing group to listen to, because they're going to know what they're talking about. They're definitely going to have probably some differing opinions, because, it's sports. You're going to think one player is probably better than another in a certain way or another. But for the most part, when it comes to talking sports, you're going to want to check that out for sure.
No, yeah, for sure. We all have a few tricks up our sleeve we have in store for you guys. So just pay attention. Just see what happens. This content's going to be rolling out like fruit roll-ups out here, dude.
Oh, beautiful.
Like the red carpet.
We just, we named the studios 330 Studios. That's the name of going to be our productions. So
this is interesting because basically we were looking for a name for our group or our studio basically for so long. We were running through so many different names. Like at one point we almost called it Dead End Studios because the house is at the end of a dead end.
I did not know that. I would've
Like
definitely not
I'm
been
talking
part-
about. We had no idea what we
Actually,
were
would
gonna
have been
call
cool.
it.
That'd have been cool. I'm not gonna lie.
It wasn't bad. It was like probably the best. That was probably the best like option we had until we decided on 3:30 because like everything else was just like, oh, you're trying too hard.
The only problem I'd have with dead end studios is like, yeah, I hit a dead end. You know what I mean? I've come here and I've worked for you. Now we're at a dead end.
But you could also change the meaning of dead end.
Can you?
I'm working a dead end job, but making millions because I'm at dead end studios. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I'm just
Yeah, you definitely lost me on that one.
fuck you.
I'm at a dead end job and I'm going nowhere. But
Who said I was? I didn't say I was going nowhere.
That's what dead end means.
I have a job at Dead End Studios, therefore I have a dead end job.
Okay, I get what you. That's fair. That's fair. Okay,
But-
I was like, what?
But
I got
what
you.
I was gonna say is that when we were putting like basically we had to tear down all of the like construction in this garage, like all the walls, everything, like so we could like put these sound panels up like on the walls and shit. 'Cause a lot of it was fucked up. But when we started stripping the walls of shit, like of the planks of wood, we found an actual clock that was drawn on the wall underneath the planks.
Okay, it wasn't an actual clock.
No,
it
it
was.
was.
It was a drawing.
It was
of a clock.
a drawing of an actual analog clock. Yes.
Okay, yeah.
That's
yeah.
it.
It wasn't like someone didn't create a fucking.
No, but
Like it wasn't. I just want to clarify
built
that
from
imagery.
like
you know,
built from wood and glass
Someone
or whatever.
just-
Someone just built the clock into the wall. No,
that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what
it was a drawing of a
Okay.
clock. You asshole.
All right.
Basically, it was like on and like the time was on 3:30. So essentially, like it's always 3:30 in this room. Basically, that was like the symbolism of that. And whenever you look up the meaning of 3:30, I believe it was it had something to do with like family,
community,
connections, and
connections,
things like that. And
yeah,
it's like
it's-
basically all that we stand for in this house is like connecting with one another in deeper ways than just like communication, like talking.
It's like, what are the
that's one
chances of
form
that? You know what I mean? You
communication.
look at 3:30 and it's like you look it up, you're like, oh shit.
And that's what we were like, what the fuck? This is exactly what we're going for. Like,
It worked out
because we were looking for a name that like kind of represented all of us, but wasn't so specific that it like represented any one of us more than the others.
And
this
it
is,
also
like,
didn't
this-
sound just so outrageous. Like, all right, that sounds fucking stupid. Which I mean, usually I'm a person of the over the top sorts. I love over the top, where it's just to a point where you probably are annoyed of me. That's my favorite kind of go to thing. But when it comes to something that represents all of us, that's not exactly like Silly Dilly Records would not be something that's like
You silly dilly, silly Willy
Silly Dilly
Piccadilly.
Productions. I mean, I wouldn't mind it too much. I'd probably
Piccadilly Productions.
that'd be kind of tight for me. I mean, I wouldn't mind, but it'd be like no one's gonna take that. I mean, it depends. If you made yourself into a brand like and here we have Piccadilly Productions. That's actually kind of a tight name.
That's
I
not bad.
might hold on to
That's
that.
not bad.
I
We
might
can-
hold on to
we
that
can
for
do
like
that
I
for
don't
some
know.
point.
You know what I'm saying? But like for the group, I don't think that would work out so well. But it's been a lot coming into this house and trying to get everything together. You know, we've had some get-togethers here. We've learned a lot from each other, I think, and then kind of getting to know each other a little bit better. You know, things haven't always gone perfect, but I definitely think this house was more than a blessing to have come into and being able to work in here and kind of learn from each other, be able to have the get-togethers, you know, have fires in the back when we want to. It's been a really good time, and I think most people when they think of like 6 people coming in to a house, they think it's gonna be a mess. Which I'm not saying it's not a mess because it definitely has its moments. But what I'm saying is it's not, you know, the end of the world. It's not hell living in
Right.
this house. It's not you come in this house, oh, this is the worst. You know,
The worst you can ever be is overwhelming, and that's not like a bad thing whenever you're being overwhelmed by love. It's like all the people in this house love each other, so therefore it's like whenever it gets overwhelming, it's not hard to recognize that these people love me. It's like even if I don't agree with them, even if we all are having an argument or if there's a fight going on or whatever the case may be, it's like you can always rely on that fact. It's like you can try to negotiate with yourself all day and night, but there's no getting away from it. It's like these people love me, so like I'm not gonna hold on to whatever I'm talking about right now. It's not a big deal because there's things bigger than that, people bigger than that, and I don't want to lose them or that. So therefore,
yeah, that's a lot.
it's been a growing experience because this is my first time like ever, I guess, living on my own. Like obviously I'm not living on my own, but outside of my mother's house or my father's house, you know what I mean? Like this is my first time being Josh. in Josh's crib, like, and of course it's all of our cribs. But what I'm saying is like this was a growing experience for me, as well as like kind of like a stepping stone into my adult life. It's like obviously I'm 20, about to be 23 next week almost. Shut up. But where I'm at is that like I feel like you don't necessarily truly become the adult that you're meant to be until you are on your own, or you are put into situations where you can make that phone call home and you probably will get an answer. But like, is that gonna be the person you want to be? Do you want to be the person who relies on his parents all day and night, or do you want to be the person that makes something of himself and can have his parents rely on him? That's where I'm at right now. Is like the past 5 months have taught me that I haven't been the person that I should be for a long time, and I've just been kind of coasting on my ability to like get through life, like get a C average and still get a full ride to college. You know what I mean? Like
Have that happen. I don't.
that's a story for another day. 'Cause I was one of the topics I want to get into on a different podcast, but like kind of the importance of like believing in yourself more than other people would ever believe in you. Like where I'm at is like I've never really like taken myself so seriously as far as like what do you want. It's always been like how do you get to tomorrow more than anything. Like how are you going to survive to be able to have tomorrow happen, rather than what do you want to do today if tomorrow doesn't happen. And that's kind of where I'm at now. It's like I don't necessarily give a fuck about whether tomorrow happens or not. I'd rather just live my life to the fullest today.
See, I'm at it, man. When it comes to that, I'm always just like, so I'm trying to figure out the best way to put it. So, knowing, I've talked about it before, having anxiety, you know, and it's not, for me, it's not the worst. I've learned how to control it through meditation and everything, but that's one of the biggest things for me I always try to do is just not necessarily think about tomorrow. That's literally one of the biggest, like the hardest hump. Because I feel like if you know, when you're focused on now, that's one of the most important things. You're engulfed fully into this moment, and you understand what this moment is and what it takes to capitalize on this moment, then the rest will fall into place. You know, you don't have to worry about tomorrow because you're worrying about what needs to happen right now.
Something that I've kind of realized like lately more than anything is like, it's like that feeling of like tomorrow or yesterday is like way more hurtful than the feeling of today. Like whenever you're planning for the future or like reminiscing of the past, it's like you're just basically torturing yourself because you don't know what's going to happen and you can't change what has happened. But the moment of presence, the moment of now, it's like how could you ever pain yourself in the present? Like what are you going to mentally do to yourself that's going to take you out of what you're doing right now? You know what I mean? Like whenever you think about the past, you can say, fuck, I should have done this, or I could have done that, or I would have done this if I had the chance. In the future, you could say, I want to do this, or I'm going to do that, or this is what's going to happen. But at the same time, it's like all of those, what has in common with all 6 of those like statements is that you have no idea what's going to happen, or you have no control over what's going to happen, or what has happened.
See, it's not to say you shouldn't have goals or things that you shoot for, because that's okay. You know, maybe you want to do something. I mean, it's all right to have that.
But it becomes a different thing whenever you start like worrying about not getting those goals done to an extent of it having an effect on your mental health.
That's facts. You shouldn't overstress this thing. It's kind of
It's a conversation that we've had a long time ago. Like whenever you used to tell me, like whenever I was telling you about like, it was actually the conversation we had whenever you dropped out of college. It was like, whenever you told me, it's like, bro, like I've been rushed for so long. Why are we rushing? Why do I need to pick what I want to do for the rest of my life now? Why do I need to rush into a job just so I have financial security? Why is there a rush? It's like, I don't need to do that. I can take my time. I can progress. I can do what I need to do. As long as I'm not making you pay my bills, I don't think you should have a say in my life.
And where I'm at on that is, rushing things is okay. You got everything you wanted at 22. So, okay, what now? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Let's say, and if everything is just a secure, stable job, maybe you're making 6 figures. You can go on vacation here and there. Like you're not. It's not like you're living this extravagant life. You know what I mean? I can still do that now. I can still take vacations here and there now. I don't need to fucking. You know what I mean?
See, where I'm at is like even if you get paid well for doing what you do, it's like if you don't enjoy it, then basically you're just like making a deal with the devil, saying, "Hey, I'll give you a week or two every year for you to live life lavishly. I mean, you can live life lavishly like, with money and shit. You know what I mean? Like every day. I'm talking about like vacations. Monday through Friday. If you're not on vacation, you going to work. If you want that money to be in your bank account, and if you don't like what you do for work, then basically you're living through hell just so you can have a couple weeks of vacation every year in a nice place with your family, or just to put food on the table for your family. That makes more sense for me. If it's more of like an obligation, like if you have people to feed, that makes sense for me to when you're doing something you don't want to do. But if your obligation at 22 is to do something you don't want to do because you're being told to, or you're being told you have to pick something now, or you're even rushing yourself saying I don't want to live life on the edge, I'd rather be secure, you know what I mean? It's like that in my idea is a failed state of mind, because you're already giving up on yourself before you ever had a chance. It's like I'm not talking about people that know what they want to do from a young age and then go do that. I'm talking about people that don't have any idea what they want to do and then just go do something because it pays well, or whatever the case may be.
But it's okay. Some people enjoy that. Some people actually just want a comfortable life.
But see,
That's
where I'm
okay.
at is like, do you enjoy that, or is it just secure? Like, are you enjoying the security, or are you actually enjoying your life?
Once again,
I feel
it
like
could
those
go
are
hand in hand. It
different
depends on who you are, of course.
Right.
I mean, for most, I'd say for the majority, people don't truthfully just love it. I really love, they might grow to like get comfortable. Like, I don't mind it. It's not terrible. You know what I mean?
Where I'm at is like it's like, use the military for example. It's like, how many people sign up for the military just for the benefits rather than to serve our country? You know what I mean?
Like to truthfully serve our country.
Like to truthfully serve our country because you want to serve and protect, or whatever that case may be. How many people's first motivation in signing up for the military is the benefits?
A lot.
So that's just security, right? Because you can get all of those benefits in a different job. You're just securing those benefits now by signing your name on a piece of paper and giving away 4 years of your life.
I think that also gives you time to figure out what you want to do.
That's true too. What I'm saying is like, that is a form of like you settling for security rather than going through the work of figuring out what you want for yourself. Because I mean, nobody knows what they want for themselves. I mean, obviously some people figure it out before others, but nobody's just born with that knowledge. Nobody figures it out on day one. Name one person that has done that.
And that'd be kind of tight. You come out the womb like, sick.
Goo goo gaga, I'm gonna be a CEO.
You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck. Damn, I believe. If a baby said that at that time, I'm like, I believe
I
him.
believe you. I believe you right now. I
I've
won't
never
even
seen-
spank your booty.
I've never seen this before, but
I won't even spank your booty after I cut the umbilical cord. You don't deserve that. You're a good kid.
You're a CEO. You're my boss now. Here, I'm gonna hand you a. Like,
What should we do, boss?
really? Just,
Take me to the incubation room.
at that point, if I'm the doctor, I'm taking off my clothes, giving it here. You're the
stethoscope.
You're the doctor now. Like, Jesus. Chance of that, definitely none. But I get where you're going from. This is like no one's gonna figure it out on day one.
But also, it's like, even if you did figure it out from day one, like, what does that get you? I feel like life is a journey to figuring things out. It doesn't, like, if you get the answers on day 1 or 12, it's like, what are you gonna do on day 1012 whenever you already know everything? You've just lived 1,000 days knowing everything.
That'd be terrible.
Right? I mean, like, what? It seems like it would be okay, but after a while, it's like, whenever you think about, like, what if people lived 1,000 years? It's like, after year 500, it's like, what the fuck are you doing with yourself? Like, you could perfect pretty much everything in that time. So, like, once you perfect everything, you just kick back. You know what I mean? Like, you just like watch sunsets and drink banana smoothies. You know what I mean? Like, what's the case after that?
I mean, I think the unknown scares a lot of people, and not knowing what could or may come. And I've had the conversation before where people talk about not wanting to give their all because then what if it was all a waste of time? My opinion, if you give your all into something and you believe in something or you want to try something out because you think you have a shot, I mean, giving your all into that's never going to be a waste of time because what's the worst that can come out of it? You learn something,
About yourself.
So,
at the very least.
like you maybe it's not the best thing that works out for you, but through those obstacles and those challenges, you're telling me you're not going to learn something at all, and then you can eventually probably apply that to something, more than likely apply that to something later on in your life whenever you come, you're going to look back and think, this didn't work out for me then, maybe it'll work out for me now.
Where I'm at is like, life is a journey of growth, and it's like, if you're not growing, then you're being stagnant. And being stagnant is like, I guess, okay in certain situations, but if you're not growing, then you're not being challenged. Like, and that's a life without challenges is what, like, you know what I mean? Like, if you have no challenges, nobody ever challenges you. You get everything you want. After a certain amount of time, you're gonna not want anything. You're gonna want a challenge. It's like if put for example, like fourth grade, like, or not even fourth grade, just in high school. If you were like, we were in AP classes and shit like that, but if you were to ever take part in a regular class or whatever, you would understand yourself like, this is, I'm so, like, not like I'm so above this, but like I have an understanding of this subject that is like farther beyond what is being taught. Therefore, I'm bored. I can't be challenged by this. Therefore, how am I going to pay attention to you as a teacher?
To be fair, in high school, I mean, I was bored.
But even in AP classes and shit, what I'm saying is, like, whenever you take that, like, a step down and, like, you remove all of the challenges from yourself, like, what are you going to do besides sleep in class?
Yeah, no, it was
like,
I mean,
you're basically cutting your productivity in half because you don't want to be challenged.
I mean, to make my senior year easy, I took a couple of those classes, even though they definitely suggested, I mean, you should continue to take AP classes. And I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to enjoy myself. But
see, that's exactly where I was at senior year.
In those, I was sitting there and it was just, it was, I don't know. I did not feel, I was like, oh, I mean, whatever. Like, this is not.
No, see, because I was getting college credit for some of my, for the, like the first period class, I forgot what they were called, dual credit.
Yeah.
I was using some college credit from there, and I was also, like, acing my other pre-AP classes. So, like, they taught, like, I had an F in AP calculus at the middle of the year. They were like, I mean, you just gonna fuck up your GPA, like, what you want to do? I said, take me out of there. They said, what math class you want to be in? I said, I don't want to be in a math class. I already have all my math credits for school, like, for me to graduate. I'm not going to take a math class. They were like, we don't recommend that. I said, well, I'm not here to listen to what you recommend. I'm here to tell you what I want to do.
See,
and that's where I'm at, is like,
once again,
I don't need calculus. No. To this day, I didn't need calculus.
He says, I mean, it's definitely a story for another day, but I want to state this again. This man, they said, I recommend not to do all these things. He still did whatever he wanted, and he still made it happen for himself. I just want to say, so you do whatever you feel like is best for you, because at the end of the day, the teachers still don't know everything.
Where I'm at is, like, teachers are meant to, like, and I see, like, the intent and what they were trying to tell me, because it's their job to necessarily prepare us for the world. The thing is that, like, whenever you're not that prepared for the world and you got to teach a class full of people that have no preparation, and, like, basically your whole, I'm not saying the teachers that told me this shit are of this nature, but what I'm saying is there's a lot of people out there that fall back on teaching because they don't know what to do with their lives, which is not how we should be, like, working our educational system. Our educational system should be, teachers are the highest paid jobs ever, anywhere. Because if you want this world to exist in a better place than it is now, the people that are going to be controlling it later after you're gone need to know how to do that. And if you're not preparing them for that, then what are you doing?
Yeah, you should have people with doctorates in there teaching these kids.
And some of our teachers did have doctorates, and those are the ones you remember. Glebe, you know what I mean? Like, this is one of the most inspirational teachers I've ever had. Was a high school science teacher.
Such a sweetheart, too.
Yeah, such a great person.
He's just a great teacher.
Great person. But also where I'm at is, like, he also cared about the education he was providing. It's not like he was showing up to do a job. He was showing up to prepare children to be able to understand the laws of physics.
Which, honestly, that class, like, physics in itself is probably one of the best subjects. At the time in high school, I wasn't as into it as I am now, but physics, that subject in itself, that's an amazing topic. And to teach it, like, I feel like you need an important teacher for that. You need someone who cares about the topic to teach something like that.
What you need is someone who understands the importance of education. It's like, I'm not saying that regular teachers or all the teachers in the world don't understand that. What I'm saying is you have a lot that don't.
Oh,
you have a lot that are collecting a check. And it's not like that check is that much. What I'm saying is that's what they're doing. And that's not okay, because you have to understand the depths of the consequences that can provide for our future.
Or how about when you have a history class and they just throw a coach in there that has some understanding?
That's my thing, is like, what about coaching a team makes you have to be a teacher? Like, if your profession is sports, why are you teaching
required.
history, or why are you teaching science, or why are you teaching English? It's like what part of that is a requirement? You know what I mean? Like, just because you have a job here at the school, you have to teach a class? What the fuck is that? I don't see any janitors teaching classes. Like, just to be fair.
That's true, though. That is a fair point. I think why, you know, I feel like history is something that also needs to be at least pretty. I feel like any subject you're getting taught that's a main subject should be taught well. You know what I mean?
Like, I'll have a coach teach me home ec because, I mean, like, they should know how to cook and clean, you know what I mean? Like, they're a human being too, so, like, that makes sense. But, like, as far as, like, information goes, if you don't have a background in this, why are you teaching it? Just because you have availability to read a textbook just like me? Yeah. Like, I'm 13 and you're 35. We both have the same ability to read a textbook. Therefore, you're qualified to teach me? What?
I mean, at that point, you have a 13-year-old come up and be like, I could teach the class now.
But there was some like that. Like, we had some kids in our classes that would think that they was on some cocky shit, like they could teach the class.
I feel like I did have a couple.
And it's like they probably could have.
I feel like I had a couple classes where like I had kids in there that were basically teaching the class. Like, the teacher would give us stuff, but there was kids in there actually helping everyone
Bro, I
else learn.
clearly remember to this day people talking about, like, not even talking about, just like, whenever you have a kid in the front row correct the teacher, it's like, whenever that, just that moment, you should, like, he's my age. Should I be listening to this guy?
Yeah.
Should I really be listening to this guy if he's just getting corrected by people my age?
And the best part is when the teacher's like, no, and then you look it up and they're wrong, and you're like, you should have just admitted you were wrong. You should have just admitted you're wrong off the bat.
You should have just said you didn't know what you were talking about. I would have respected you more.
Now I can't
walk in tomorrow, turn in my homework, and expect it to be graded correctly.
Because, you know, anytime you say something's right now, I'm going to think that you're lying. Because you fought so hard to be right. Now, anytime you tell me you're right, you're probably lying.
And see, like, I don't understand that. It's like, why? What about education? Do these teachers feel like the need to, like? I don't see how misinformation gets so passed around in schools just because of, like, cockiness of educators. It's like, I'm not wrong. This is what happened. I remember it, or like I remember being taught this or whatever. It's like, and then it's like at the same time, your teachers are the same age as your parents usually at those times, but like your parents can't help you with your homework. I mean, it's like, damn, like, I know my parents are smart, so like they probably just forgot this shit. So like, what the fuck have you forgotten, Mrs. Thompson? You know what I mean? Like, where's your head at? Like, do you only know the subject of English or science, whatever your subject you teach? Do you only know that? Have you forgotten what 2 times the square root of 12 is? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I feel like whenever it comes to like specializations in teachers, it's like, you should have doctorates who have gotten degrees in those, because those degrees involve various amounts of like
Studies.
Courses and studies. Yes,
I agree 100%.
that's where I'm at. Like, I don't see how people that are just like got a community college degree and fucking English literary like works. You know what I mean? Like, or fucking political science or anything like that. Like, how are you teaching classes? Like, political science to me means nothing. I feel like that's just like kind of like, what is political science? It's just kind of history of politics.
That's exactly, yeah.
But like, why do you need that?
I mean, politics run this country.
If
and
necessarily
they run
policy
every
changes,
country.
if policy changes so much, like, why do we need to know where it came from? Because like, that's necessarily teaching us our mistakes, I guess. But like, at the same time, it's like whenever you learn about like the different facets of the government, you just like start wondering like, why does this exist?
Control.
Exactly. And it's like, that's what I'm saying, is like political science in me is like a fucking like torturous subject, because you just start finding out so much shit about like the corruption of the government, the corruption of politics, the corruption of United States of America as a corporation, like all kinds of shit. You start learning like, and this is just like regular to y'all. Like, this is just regular knowledge. This is chapter 4. Like, what are you talking about?
It's funny too. I think this quarantine, just off rip. The funny thing about quarantine is this year I've been in quarantine more than I've been doing anything else. Like, majority of my year has been in quarantine at this point.
Right.
Hilarious.
It is hilarious.
But what I was gonna say is, if anything, I think on that subject of political science, it's kind of opened my, maybe a lot of people, I can't speak for everyone, but it's opened my eyes a lot to the government. I mean, or more so affirming what I already believed in, you know what I mean? And it's so interesting because when there's a quote, Henry Adams, I believe, is the quote is from. I'm probably gonna butcher this a little bit because my memory is not 100. I have a solid memory, but it's not the best. It's chaos is the law of nature, order is the law of order is man, is something along the lines order is the law of man. So basically, essentially saying chaos is the natural order of things,
Right. But
order is us trying to make sense of, you know, like it's basically trying to control
the chaos.
But it's, you know, come on.
I mean, the world is a chaotic place whenever you think about like fucking the wild kingdom and like the food chain and thing like that. It's like every living organism is supposed to feed off of another living organism for its nutrients. That's how life works. Yet humans become sentient and start controlling things, and that becomes a problem. You know what I mean? Like, you can't eat a dog. Like, that's a like a man's best friend. It's like I understand that. I don't think people should do that either. But also, it's like that's the way of the world. The predators eat prey.
This is where it's like, cannibalism is bad. But also, if you are out in the freezing cold and one person next to you freezes to death, you have nothing to eat. It's either you eat that person or you die. You could be the better person and say, I'm going to die. Or...
But see, the opposite of that is that, like, if you choose to be the better person and die, you're going to get eaten by the other person. It's like...
someone's there.
You can choose to be the bigger man and, like, not be a cannibal, but guess who's about to be a cannibal and guess who's about to get eaten? That's where I'm at. It's like this is a world of like killed or be killed, and like we've stepped away from that so much because we think like we have the right to, because we have thumbs and brains that are bigger than others.
You shouldn't kill people. You know what I mean?
I don't think you should kill people. What I'm saying is like this is a world of kill or be killed. In the wild, and you come across a tiger. If you're a fucking PETA person and you don't think the tiger should be killed, you're gonna die. That's just how it works. Sorry, you're food. That's just how.
Like, protection's important. I think
it is important.
I think.
But what I'm saying is like most people like have it's important, but it's also like I feel like it's coincidental how so many people have these opinions of like how animals should be treated and how things should happen this way until they get put in a position where they're being attacked by something and now they got a gun and they just put a bullet in an animal's head. And it's like. You just defended this position for 30 years of your life, and now once you got stepped into that position, you completely contradicted yourself.
I agree with that.
That's where I'm at. It's like it's like the Tiger King shit. It's like Carol Baskin's trying to say we're protecting these tigers when you're putting them in smaller cages than they were in previously. Like you're saying that these tigers need freedom, yet you're reluctantly you're intentionally not giving them that. And saying it's for purposes of safety. Yet you're having a zoo, essentially, just not calling it a zoo, calling it a sanctuary. Therefore, it's legal, and you feel like you're doing something good for the world. Just because the money's not going in your pocket doesn't mean it's not the same thing.
Where do we draw the line? Before we go further on where we're going to draw the line, I have a quick little thing I want to bring up. I bet you're wondering what's back here.
What's back there, Daniel?
No one's wondering that, actually, because no one knew there was anything back here before I said that. But
it's like you get like one of those crowd, like, what's back there?
What's back there? No, all right, but look, if you watched our last podcast, we did this thing. It was the 30 challenges to enlightenment, and if you don't know, we failed miserably, and we definitely didn't stick to it at all. And it was definitely a failed attempt on that. Not afraid to say it, on that podcast. It was a little rushed, and we did it. It was not well executed at all. So here we are right now. So here we go. What I have back here, if you were wondering, is that same 30 challenges to enlightenment poster that I had before. And here we go. Here, Josh, you might have to help me out here, bud. Roll out the red carpet. Here, you hold this in. You're not going to be able to read it from that camera. So I'm just going to hold it out. There's a lot of things on here. Holy Jesus Christ. Oh. All right, so basically this is the poster, right?
This is horrible.
And we're going to all have to...
We're doing really bad.
Look, it's all good. All right, so basically we got that. All right, so we're going to pick one off just the first. So essentially there's 6 different types of like not 6 challenges, but there's 6 levels.
There's 6 levels.
6
of
levels.
challenges. Each
So
level
five
has
challenges and 6 levels. We're gonna start on the first level, which is it's gonna be called the Monkey Mind. I wasn't talking very well in the mic, so I hope you heard most of what I just said.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
Six levels, 5 challenges each level. So Monkey Mind is the first level, and so I'm gonna pick one challenge to do.
Name the 5 before you pick one.
Okay, and then Josh's gonna pick one. So here we go. The first one is gonna be called High on Existence. Refrain from alcohol, caffeine, nicotine, and all other non-prescribed drugs for 30 days. That's gonna be a doozy for somebody.
Daniel, just a note, maybe like don't cover your face with the poster.
Okay, look. All right, so here we are again. Sunrise Sensei is the second one. Greet the day, wake up bright and early, and go watch the sunrise every morning for 30 days. Also gonna be a doozy. Third one, here we go. Zen Grasshopper. Meditate for 20 minutes every day for 30 days. Be still, let your breath be your anchor. I already do that, so I can't do that one. Vitality Builder. Go for a 30-minute walk each and every day for 30 days. Fill your body's innate power and purpose. And then the last one is gonna be this one's gonna be a real doozy here. I can't speak for everyone, but I'll speak for myself. Sensuality Spark. Do not watch porn, look at erotica, masturbate, or have sex for 30 days. Sublimate your libido.
So I'm gonna go ahead and cross out that last one, as I'm not doing that.
I told you it's a tough one.
That's not happening.
It's a real doozy. Baby.
Maybe once I become more zen with myself, that'll be availability.
It's a tough one.
But I'm gonna go ahead and choose the 30-minute walk every day.
Are you gonna do it?
I'm gonna fucking do it. I
gotta
might even throw in some sunrises in there with my 30-minute walks. Just a couple.
So I mean, of course, if anyone wants to try to join in on one of those challenges and stick it to yourself to see if you can do it, go ahead. And I think the thing is, whether or not you believe in enlightenment or not, I think these challenges are really good to help you bring you closer to yourself, because they have some pretty awesome stuff. You know, there's one on there I believe that says be honest, like completely honest. You know, for every day for 30 days, like brutally honest. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're not like, if someone tells you something, no bullshit and beating around the bush.
It's how you feeling. It's not good or bad. It's I feel this way about this and this way about that.
You're not hiding it. Yeah.
Being extremely honest and true to myself.
Transparent.
Right.
And then there's one that's write down in detail how your day was every day for 30 days. There's
That's not bad.
One that's draw.
It's more like paying attention to your like actions more than anything.
And then there's one that's try and draw something. Draw out something
Like being
every
creative?
day. It's drawing specifically. Like,
Okay.
every day for 30 days. So kind of like bringing you closer to yourself and all these things that are challenging yourself to be, I guess because enlightenment, what people believe enlightenment is presence. Fully present in yourself, fully present in this moment, and just allowing yourself to be fully engulfed in what the unknown is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just allowing it to just yourself to unfold naturally and not worry about what's tomorrow, like you said, or worry about the past, but
Right.
to fully just be engulfed in what this moment is. And that's kind of what these challenges are for, is to bring you to yourself and immerse yourself fully in this moment. So you said you're going to do
I'm gonna do the 30-minute walk every day. And Ryan will definitely enjoy that.
all right, so 30-minute walk. If I'm going to do one, sunrise, not a good one to start with. I'm terrible at that. What was it? Oh, I gotta look at these. So it was no drugs for 30 days, no alcohol, nicotine, no sex, masturbation, porn,
Meditation.
I already do that, so I
The
can't.
walks and the sunrises.
Walks and sunrises. I think I'll do. I'll go ahead. I'll piggyback off of you. I want to do the sunrise, but I just know I'm not prepared mentally for that yet.
See, I would say the sunrise, and I would also even go on a limb and try to do the no alcohol and drugs one. Just try to pull a sober month. But as I mentioned earlier, my birthday is next week. So my birthday's May 22nd. So May 23rd, I know for a fact I'm missing that sunrise. No doubt.
Facts.
So, but also it's I'm gonna get drunk that night, so I don't want to adhere to something that I don't want to sign myself up for something that I'm gonna regret. Like I also don't want to like say 30 days sober and then be like 1 day off though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's fair. So okay, I'll do the 30-minute walk as well, and then after that I'll do the sunrise.
And if you guys are interested in joining in on these challenges, you can take a picture or a video of yourself like participating, unless it's the like masturbation and sex one. I don't want to see that. But also,
No, I mean that would just be like, I'm not doing it.
like 30 days, no sex.
Like it would just be you sitting there. Like how would you record that? Just as you can see, I'm not doing anything.
I still might be uncomfortable knowing that like everything in your mind is focused on sex, but like you're just like refraining from doing so.
I'm not watching porn.
I promise.
I'm abstinent. Like, yeah,
But anyways, if you wanna fucking join in on this, in the fucking comments of this video, we'll put down our Twitter names, our Instagrams, our Snapchats. You guys can hit us up with hashtag 30-day challenge. Let us know what you guys are doing and how far along you guys are.
That was off the dome. He just made that. I like that hashtag 30 days. Wait, or what was the 30-day challenge?
30-day challenge.
I like that. That was off the dome. Good. I'll take it.
Or you can do hashtag 30 days to enlightenment. Either way, whatever you guys are feeling, just join in, start it up. Only you can do it.
We'll get this going. I'll participate as well. It's gonna be tough. Trust me.
I'm glad you're participating since you fucking came up with the idea, you big ass. It's like, you guys just 30 days to enlightenment. I'm not gonna do it. You guys got it.
I mean, it's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be easy at all. Do we want to start this now? Let's start it Monday officially because this video will be out.
That's Thursday.
Today, yeah. So
yeah,
it's the 14th. So the 18th.
That's fine.
Start the 18th. 18th Monday, or whatever the date. Quarantine's got my dates and dates mixed up. So I believe the 18th is Monday. So we'll start then, and the challenge start then, and then 30 days from that point on. So and just to be clear, 30 days doesn't always equal exactly a month from.
So yeah, we're not talking fucking May 18th to June 18th. We're talking 30 days, baby.
30 days. That's the challenge. Okay. All right, and with that being said, also, quarantine. Kind of going back. I know we may have lost you here, but Josh was talking about the fine line of basically politics, and the world that we live in, chaos, order, Carol Baskins, all that good stuff, tigers, murders. But essentially, I think this quarantine has opened a lot of people's eyes, and if it hasn't, it should. Like the fine line between a lot of things. I think what's most important, to me, from getting from all this is everything that you thought was a thing is now kind of falling apart, and your image of what this world was or may have been is probably should have deteriorated in a sense, because it's not all rainbows and posies. I mean, I'm sure everyone already knew that, but now you're seeing all the divide between people. You're seeing people rioting. You're seeing people, why are these people getting better treatment than these people? People are going out and people don't care about other people. It's like, and that's what I'm saying. It's like chaos has always been what the world was. It's just when you realize the people that were keeping order don't have your best interest, that's when it kind of, when that clicks in everyone's head is, oh shit, these people that are supposed to be keeping order really aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing.
And see, like, that's where speculation becomes involved, where it's like, is the government telling me to stay at home for my safety? Is the government telling me to stay at home so they can enact the control that they have over me? And it's like, that's where it becomes a really fine line. It's like, I don't want to say that there's like no danger in going outside or living your regular life, because there is. Like, it is an airborne virus that has different mutations in different places that is becoming worse and worse as time goes on. But at the same time, it's like, this is all information that was given to us by pretty much the same source, like the government of the United States that is getting information from other countries' governments, and we're finding out that information is fabricated at the time. So it's like, who's to say our government isn't fabricating information? It's like, it's just leaving room for so much speculation that if you're not questioning this shit, you're literally ignorant. And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. I'm saying that because you're literally choosing to not learn the environment that you're in, which is choosing to be ignorant. You're like, to be ignorant is to be like unable to learn from, not necessarily just your mistakes, but period, just learn. And if you're not making mistakes in society and you're doing what's right, but you're also believing everything that you're told, then maybe you're not necessarily learning from the environment that's around you.
I'll say this. This is, if you've ever met Josh or I, we're both pretty, not, I don't want to say argumentative. We have a lot of discussions. They do lead to arguments to a degree. But most of where we always end up, and this is how I apply what we were saying to life, is most of our arguments always end up saying something like, it's like, you don't know it could be this. It's like, do you know that it could be this? No, but you also don't know that it could be this. You know,
Right.
It's like, so it's always, we're on both ends, and it's annoying because it's not going to go anywhere, because it's the thing with life is you don't necessarily know that it is this for sure, but you also don't necessarily know that it isn't.
But see, that has a lot to do with like the difference of opinion in politics too, because it's like, if you're a Republican and you agree with the Democrat, you're no longer Republican by your Republican peers. Does that make sense? It's like, just because you are a red state, now you are no longer allowed to agree with blue state ideas.
That's silly.
Because of what? Because of this like idea that if they get too much control or power, then their ideals will take control over ours, which at the same time you're neglecting to realize that both of you are humans that live in the same area of like square footage, that have initially the same problems with weather, the same problems with life itself. You might not have the same financial issues or family problems that other people might have, but essentially you're living in the same world that they are. For you to think that your agenda is any more important or any less important than anyone else's is just silly. Everyone has the same exact say in everything that happens, because they have to deal with the same exact repercussions of them that everyone else does. I mean, maybe not financially, but like, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
What I'm trying to say is that whenever you get to this point of like control where you're making decisions for everyone else, if you have any agenda in that, and that agenda isn't helping people, then you're taking advantage of others at every turn. If you're not trying to help people, you're trying to help your agenda, then you're going to be taking advantage of someone. And that's not how a government should run. A government shouldn't run, it's okay, we'll save millions to sacrifice a few 80,000 people. It's like, that's not how a government should run. That's how a fucking like militia should run. That's how something without order should run. But if you claim to have order in this country, then that's not how that should work. You know what I mean?
See, where I'm at is, I mean, I'm not saying it's a perfect system. That's why I believe in, I'm saying killing someone should definitely be wrong. Murder, assault, rape, trafficking of human beings, that's all definitely wrong. But I'm saying, like, in a system of chaos, self-sustainability, man, is something I try to work towards and learn about every day. Is because, think about it, you have your own food, you know, people anti-guns, okay, cool, but in a world where people definitely are capable of murdering other people regardless, I'd rather have protection for myself
and my family.
Learning how to hunt, learning how to fish, learning how to take care of land, per se, you know.
Learning how to not ask for help is a big thing.
And just kind of take care of it. I'm not saying you have to do it all. You don't have to have a whole farm, you know what I mean? But at least if you learn how to take care of yourself to an extent, I mean, anything happens, you're ready. You know what I mean? In any situation, you're then ready. If you rely 100% on someone else in the government or whoever it may be to do something for you, what happens when it comes down to a situation when you need to know something for yourself?
A certain skill that I learned in the Boy Scouts whenever I was as a young age was emergency preparedness. And one of the first things they teach you is that just because you're prepared for an emergency doesn't mean you know the depths that are going to come from that emergency. Like, you could be prepared all day and night. You could have a plan, but you're not necessarily going to be able to execute that plan the way you want to. That's just the way of the world. Now, that's not to say that you shouldn't create a plan, because things could go awry regardless of your plan. What it is to say is that you should be prepared for the unexpected.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
And so when my point about that is that there's so many people today in this world we live in that are catered to and everything that they want they get it at the moment's notice. If you want information, it's a phone click away. You know what I mean? If you want to talk to somebody, you just press call on this device that you have in your pocket. If you want anything in the world, you can pretty much get it as long as you have the availability to work for it. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is people aren't used to unexpected. People aren't used to planning for things that in their head would never happen because they get everything they want. So as soon as you put someone in a position to be able to like say like not only you're not going to get what you want, but you're going to need to prepare for never getting what you want again.
It's not just that too. In a situation, you know, when things get crazy and people get scared and fear. When people act out of fear and they don't have a calm sense of self, they can act irrational. Someone could easily just kill someone out of fear, even if they're not per se a murderer. But if they're scared enough and they think that that's gonna help them, they don't care. You can think, oh, that's my friend all day long. But if they are not even ready or even ever thought of a situation of being in something where it's like, oh, live or die, what makes you think that they wouldn't kill you to get out?
Think about it. You don't even have to go that extreme. Just think about it this way. The island of Galveston, Texas, had 350 new cases after they opened the beaches back up in one day. That is 350 people telling you, I don't care what's going on, I always get what I want. Instead of being prepared in an emergency situation. That's where I'm at. It's like you have the availability and all of the information to be prepared in the situation. Yet you got coronavirus because you always get what you want.
See, and the thing is, if you do go out, because I mean, people are gonna go out regardless. People are gonna stay in. People are gonna go out. If you do go out, at least take some precautions. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you shouldn't go out. I'm not saying it's necessarily the best idea, but at least take precautions if you do go out. You know, keep your distance. Don't go touching a bunch of things.
Like all these people talking about like God got me, like you know, like that lady that was in traffic talking about like I'm good, like I'm still going to be resuming my normal life because Jesus is taking the wheel. Jesus isn't gonna let me get it or this and that. Like God's gonna protect me. It's like even if God was protecting you, do you think that He's okay with like while He's protecting you, while He's being your bodyguard, you think He's okay with you being careless? You think He's okay with you being like literally ignorant and doing everything you shouldn't be doing? It's like it's like that like a joke from George Carlin, I think, that whenever he was saying is like if people think that this is truly like heaven on, like if Earth was truly given to humans by God, that He created it for us, it's like you think that He wouldn't be mad at for you shitting on it all over the place, polluting the air, like killing animals like for no reason, just for like clothing, you know what I mean? Like, do you think that God would be okay with how you're taking care of the earth if he actually gave it to you?
People love to use things only when it benefits them. You feel me?
Right. Oh, shit.
Let's take a quick break real quick. We'll be right back. Fuck. All right. Oh, shit. There's a
huge wasp in here.
There's a yellow jacket in the fucking stew.
Damn, I killed one yesterday.
Oh, shit.
So, sorry about that, folks. What happened was a yellow jacket decided to enter our studio and terrorize us for a little bit. We got a little scared there, almost died. But,
That wasn't fun.
No, it wasn't cool. That was not cool. But we're back. Better than ever. Not stung, by the way.
Yeah, we made it through that. I was, I saw it and I was like, no.
Because I heard it too, but I thought it was just like a fly or a mosquito, maybe.
Us, though.
Yeah. Oh, that's scary.
It was like I'm pretty sure it was behind us for a minute because I kept hearing it.
Because I didn't see it till it like started
right
fucking
there.
with the light, and I was like, oh no, please, no, not cool, no. And our roommates aren't even here to help us. Like we just like had to like fucking fight a wasp, like, and all the spray and shit was outside, so I had to run to the door and go get that shit.
We made it out alive though, so I hope you got a good show on that. It was fun. It was a good time.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we made it out alive. So we were talking about quarantine, how it's affected the way, you know, the order of things, and how it's kind of hard to trust what is and what isn't. Going to the beach and kind of all these things and people taking it upon themselves. And like we were saying, pretty much is everyone only uses things when it applies to them or to benefit themselves. You know, God per se. It's kind of when you look at, for instance, the protests. You know, of the people now with the guns and you know at the court. Oh, but when people were peacefully protesting for Black lives, you know, or say this is what we stand for. They're not out there hurting anybody. They're peacefully protesting. You know what I mean? Taking a knee, that's a peaceful protest. But you don't want to see that. But now that you can't go outside your doors and we're taking away your freedoms, now it's a problem.
See, what's a better example of that is like Black Lives Matter, like movement had a meaning to it. Like it was like a very serious, it still is to this day, very serious like injustice in the, not just social reform, but also like the justice system that we have, as far as like not just like cops shooting like and like profiling African Americans, but also like just like the amount of like stress that is involved in being an African American in this country, like being able to walk down the street freely. You know what I mean? Like how many people can like that are African American can say that they're able to do that in their hometown, like without worry, without stress, just to go for a stroll. You know what I mean?
There was
like how many people can actually say that of African American descent? Like these people that were saying Black Lives Matters have an ideal that they're supporting. And then you have people like White Lives Matters. It's like, what are you doing? You have tiki torches in the streets of fucking North Carolina, protesting, not peacefully, that White Lives Matter. What does that mean to you? In what way is white people in this country, or really any country at this point, being like, I mean, I could see how like the poor side of white America has been still like kind of like trashed on, but even they don't necessarily have to worry about going to the corner store and making it home. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. You don't have to worry about jogging around, you know what I mean, per se, jogging in a neighborhood.
Even if you don't have money as a white person in this country, you can still live your life freely, because there's plenty of homeless people that do it. It's like they don't feel judged or anything. I mean, they might, but what my point is that judgment that they might feel has no repercussions on whether they live or breathe the next day.
And where I was going with that is just, it's always when it comes down to, like, it's the whole God, you know, God is my
savior.
Like, he's gonna protect me, but it's also, what about the instance that you're hurting other people? You think God wants that? You think God wants you to blatantly just go out and give
God
people
everyone's protector?
If you know,
like, aren't we all God's children?
Yeah.
By your belief and thought process, Miss Christian lady.
So what if by like killing you off, we're protecting?
Right.
You know, so
it's like if you're an issue to the population, wouldn't God be protecting the population by not saving you? But isn't God your savior? So like this argument's falling through itself. Like you're not making sense, lady.
It's
just
only
put
when
a
it
fucking
applies...
mask on and wear some like gloves.
That's wrong.
I'm not asking a lot out of you.
People want to use things when it only applies to them, but when it doesn't and it's hurting somebody's. But why? You know, it's like you want to make excuses and question it. But when it comes to you, then this is a problem. No shit. It's been a problem. It's just because it's affecting you now. Now it's a problem. It's been a problem. Stop being an asshole.
It's kind of like the ideal of like a guy who cheats on his girlfriend like fucking week after week. The minute she cheats on him, he has a problem, right? Why? He just did this to her. But now because it falls back on you, you have an issue with it. But you just disrespected her every weekend since y'all been together. You know what I mean? Like it's like the same argument. It's like, who are you to say that your feelings on this subject are more important than anyone else's? Just because you're not dealing with the situation right now doesn't mean anyone, like nobody is. The world doesn't revolve around you, so your problems aren't everyone's problems. But that doesn't make your problems unique.
It's
kind of like a fine line between like being selfish and saying the world should listen to me, and also being selfless and saying like I should maybe listen to the world.
I think it's more so you should definitely listen to the world. You should listen to yourself too, but
not what I'm saying by like the world should listen to me is like these people like claiming that like all of the coronavirus shit is a hoax and all this shit is like do you really think you're providing anything off of that, or are you just like getting views for your money's sake? You know what I mean? It's like, you providing information, or you just like raking it in?
Look, it's easy to say it's a hoax, but it's also, I mean, to go either way for me. It can go really either way. I don't know entirely. What we do know is people are dying, and we do know that it potentially is the reason. Now, we don't know for sure what the numbers are. We don't know 100% what the statistics truthfully are, because they could be just throwing numbers at us. People could be literally saying anything. The media, do I trust it? Not really. Do I trust mainstream media? Hardly. Very little. Good job. Very, very little do I actually trust mainstream media. So,
Did I get it?
Yeah, we got it.
but so when it comes to that, I'm not gonna say whether it's fake or it's not. What I will say is I'd rather be cautious and take the steps.
And there's nothing wrong with being cautious. Being cautious isn't fucking adding 13 locks to your door to make sure people don't come in. Like, that's not being cautious, that's being paranoid. Being cautious is if you need to go to the grocery store, take precautions, wear gloves, bring extra gloves so you don't wear those same gloves from a different store. Have a mask on hand, have some hand sanitizer in your car. Like, those 3 objects can do a lot for you, even though it's not going to necessarily protect you 100%. Like, you're not going to be sealed off from the virus if you do those precautions. But that's going to cost you less than $10. Like, if you're spending $10 on food today, like, guess what? You can make that food at home and protect yourself for the next 3 months. Just, like, stop acting stubborn because you feel like you have the need to. Like, this is like that opposition theory that I have. Like, whenever it seems like something's just like somebody's doing something just for the like fair reasoning to say I'm doing what other people aren't. Like, they think that their reasoning is fair because they're setting a trend or doing something that's trendy, and it's like at the same time it's like you're only hurting yourself by not being either cautious or original, depending on what topic you're talking about.
I think something else that contributes to these people acting that way, and quarantine's kind of brought it out, is, being in quarantine, some of these people having to stay inside, realize, aside from their job, whatever they do, is who are you really? Do you really enjoy your life at this point? Because now you're stuck at home with maybe your kids or your spouse, family.
Some people are their jobs.
You don't have it. You're not working right now, so like you're not able to work out. Some people, like, that's your personality. Yeah. Your personality is that, and you have to realize, who am I now without that? The thing is, I always say, you're not what you do definitely contributes to who you are, but you're more than just what you do.
Right.
And of course, your actions do kind of speak for who you are in a way and what kind of person you are. But that doesn't always mean your job is who you are. Oh, okay, you go to the gym, congrats, you eat healthy, good job. That doesn't make you a good person, though. You could still be a douchebag. You could still be an asshole if you have a great job, you eat healthy, you go to the gym, you make clothes. Whatever you do, whatever the situation is, you could be the best artist of all time. But that doesn't mean that's who you are.
Yeah.
It's just a piece of who you are.
What you should do is try to perfect your craft. You should try to do your best in anything that you're doing. No matter if you're a janitor, you should try to be the best janitor in the entire world. Like, no matter what, you should be trying to do the best at your job at all times. But that doesn't mean you have to become the job. You're still you regardless of what you're doing. You're still Josh and Daniel, no matter whether you're cleaning houses or you're building them. Doesn't matter. Like, you can become your job by saying, like, I'm gonna take this job so seriously that I want to be perfected, and so, like, you can allow that to be I'm gonna, like, take this, like, so for instance, sales. If you're a salesman, you start finding yourself like talking like a salesman even in your regular speech. You don't have to do that. You have control over your speech. You have control over, like, it's just like a lack of attention that you're paying to yourself at that point. It's like, I'm not at work anymore. I need to realize that. Like, why am I still trying to sell this person on something? Like, and like that makes sense, I guess, like an outside of work scenario. If you want to make more money as a salesman, like, you don't have to be at work to sell things. I mean, as a salesman, you can be off the clock and still make sales. Like, that's like that. I guess, like, if that's for if your money is your most important prerogative, then be your job for all sakes. Like, do whatever you want. But what I'm saying is it's not required. You're not required to be the person you are at work whenever you're not at work. But a lot of people choose to be. A lot of people choose that that's their personality because it makes sense to them.
Yeah,
Because maybe they're successful at work. So maybe they think that if I'm like this at all times, I'll be successful at all times.
Or sometimes, just getting out, going to the bar, being able to go places is escaping from the life that you don't want to face. And now people are having to
Exactly.
face the life that they were escaping from. And now it's like, shit, I have to look at myself and face what's going on. And on the other hand, too, you have people, for instance, let's say you're a famous person. There's people who really identify with that. And, if you run into them, do you know who I am? I don't really care. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. Who are you to me? Is really you should be answering that. Who are you? The real question is, who are you to me? Let's clear this up for a second.
Right.
And it's like, now that this is happening, people are having to face themselves or realizing being famous right now does not matter. It doesn't.
Yeah.
You think people care? If anything, people are shitting on those people more than ever now. Cause
Like there's a fucking 9-year-old girl that's famous for her talks on climate change and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, what does famous mean anymore?
More.
Like, are you cool? Like, are you a good person? Do you
That's
give back
where
to
I'm at.
society? Do you care about what you're doing? Or are you just a face on TV?
Exactly.
It's like, I don't care about whether you're a face on TV or not. And I honestly don't care about what you're doing with your life. But as soon as you start claiming to be this or that or doing this or that, then it starts becoming like, okay, you're a hypocrite. Please get off my phone. Like my screen, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't care about you.
Like as soon as someone it's like that same the same one thing I've told you like a lot about is like if you're anything in this world, you don't need to tell people that it's not like your actions will speak for
That's
themselves.
what I'm saying.
It's like if you're a gentleman, you will be a gentleman at all times. You won't need to tell somebody I'm the best gentleman or I'm very respectful or I'm a great listener, whatever you attribute being a gentleman to be. If you're not that, it's gonna show. And if you're not that, it's gonna show so much that you're gonna need to overcompensate for that and tell people that you are.
I mean, exactly. And facing in times like these, facing yourself is I'm sure for a lot of people is not some people don't like doing that. People don't like sitting with themselves. It's sitting with
Very
yourself.
difficult.
It can be rough. I think that's important though, especially in times like these. Even after this is all over, I mean, the virus isn't going to be over for a minute, but when people start going back to work for however long, you should still continue to take that time to sit with yourself and really think over and kind of sit with whatever's going on in your life. Just allow it to be for a second. Which is why I always say meditation is super important, but kind of try to feel, you know what I mean? Like, what are you feeling? And just allow that feeling to happen, but then understand what that feeling is.
I think the problem is that so many people see so many people I feel like understand that they are their own worst critic, but I feel like they don't see that as a positive thing. It's like, for me, it's like I know I'm my own worst critic because I know all of the faults that I have, and also I know where I'm not placing my attention and my effort and my effectiveness and all these things. I know exactly where those places are. So whenever I have a problem with myself, it's easy to be like, this is what happened, this is why. So I can beat myself all day up all day and night about that shit. But at the same time, if you understand that you are your own worst critic, then you will never ever give a fuck about anybody else's opinion not even one more time. Because if you understand what you're doing wrong, how are you going to allow anyone else to tell you that? It's like, I don't care what you say. I already know that. And I'm working on it. But me telling you that means nothing. So why is this conversation even happening?
I mean, the most that you can do if you care about somebody is, hey, I care about you, and I just want to let you know this is what I think.
But
now, if you're starting to tell people what to do, that's where.
But see, even constructive criticism is allowed in friendships and love, and that's some part of that is telling people what to do. But the worst part about telling somebody what to do is expecting them to do it. You can't do that. The thing about advice is I'm giving you a piece of information that could help if you are to use it. It's not I'm giving you information that you're going to use or else. It's not how advice works. And a lot of people don't necessarily understand that whenever it comes to advice from themselves, to themselves, it doesn't have to be, you better do this or else. It could be, here's some information. Use it how you would like to. And a lot of people put pressure on themselves in those situations where I just found out something about myself, and if I don't change it, then that means I'm a bad person, or I love living like this, or whatever it is. It's you're just torturing yourself at that point. What is that going to do? Other than anger you and make you feel more self-deprecating. For me, it's a lot of people's like mindset that like brings their own anxiety and like own depression up from themselves. Like I understand things that happen in your life that can cause anxiety and depression, but like the inner anxiety, the inner depression that you have for yourself through that self-criticism, I feel like is so avoidable in my opinion, just for the basis of the fact that you have the availability to be whoever you want. And especially if you don't like who you are, change. You have that availability. Nobody else is going to do it for you.
That's true. I mean,
It can be hard, but what's easy?
That's fair. On a side note, I agree with that. And just on a side note, some people are clinically depressed. They do have
No, I know
they
that.
do have imbalanced risk, but a lot of those people still make the conscious decision to get up every day
But-
and understand that they do have that, and they still make the decision to go through life.
What I'm saying is, that I'm not
it's-
saying like that stuff isn't real. What I'm saying is, for me, is like I can't understand it. Like, and I'm saying that from a point of view, not saying like they shouldn't be like that. I'm saying I physically and mentally cannot understand it based on like the thought processes that I have, because of, like I've had issues with myself that I caused. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like I understood like in those moments, not in those moments, way after those moments in retrospect, that I could have changed things at that moment and would have had a better experience. You know what I mean? Like I've understood points in my life where I was depressing myself, like willfully,
Yeah,
willfully saying this hurts, let's keep hurting.
No, what I'm saying there are people that do that, but what I'm saying is, like actually medically, some people's brains are just imbalanced,
Right.
are naturally imbalanced. Like, there's nothing they can, it's literally nothing they can do to you know what I mean?
Right.
You can take medicine and stuff like that, but I mean essentially, still you can be clinically depressed is where your brain is naturally imbalanced. You know what I mean?
Right.
But those, like I was saying, a lot of those people understand that, and they still get up. And they try to put in effort, and it's a hard thing regardless to get through that. But even with that being said, you should understand there are those people that still do that, and you're capable of it as well. Is you really got to get over those humps. And I understand facing yourself it can be a really tough thing. And we all idle hands. You know what I mean? Is the devil's playground. So I mean, people try to stay busy, not focus on what's in their mind,
Right.
and all this stuff. But sometimes you really do got to sit with yourself, and finding yourself is a tough thing. And what it may mean is realizing you don't actually like yourself or actually like your life, and you've just been engulfing yourself in all these things to make it seem like you do.
Personally, I feel like there's a benefit in not liking yourself. It's like it was never written in the Bible or in any religious text that you're supposed to like yourself. Obviously, you're supposed to love yourself. Like, you're supposed to love yourself before all others, otherwise you won't necessarily. How can you love another if you don't love yourself? Like those old sayings and shit like that. But like yourself is a different thing. It's like, I love my mom. I don't like it when she tells me what to do as like whenever I'm an adult. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm 22 years, about to be 22 years old. Like, I don't like it whenever I'm still being treated like a child, but I still love my mom regardless. What I'm saying is, like, I don't necessarily like the things that I've done. I don't necessarily like the person that I've been. But I do love me and the person that I'm able to become, because I do see the light at the end of the tunnel. That doesn't mean I don't want the tunnel to be over. I don't want to get there already.
Yeah.
Where I'm at is like I'm here to enjoy the tunnel. I'm here to live in the tunnel until I get to that light.
Facing yourself is a journey. It shouldn't never. I don't think it should ever stop. You should be constantly trying to grow, find new things, and that's why I personally think finding new hobbies and finding
Right.
don't get me wrong, like doing things isn't necessarily bad. Immersing yourself into activities you love isn't bad, because you can find out who you really are through activities. You like finding out things. We always talk about it, trying out new things. Maybe you do love art, painting, maybe you do love music, find new hobbies, go garden, you know what I mean? And you might find a piece of who you are, and you might understand life a little bit better, in my personal opinion, realize life is a beautiful thing, and you realize I'm more than just all these other things. Like, I can just allow myself to be and just enjoy life, you know what I mean? I am just
Right.
someone who enjoys life. I'm not the guy who is this, I'm not the guy who does that, I'm just me enjoying life. I'm just here.
You don't have to be someone who does everything. You don't have to even be someone who does a lot. You just have to be someone who feels fulfilled in everything that they do. It's like, if you're doing things that have no fulfillment, just realize you're choosing to do that.
Or if you're doing things to escape who you are or doing things to escape.
That's also
reality
that's
you live
also in my opinion, escapism is okay too in certain aspects.
In certain
it's just
aspects,
like
overindulgence.
where it becomes not even like overindulgence of escapism to me isn't even necessarily a problem. The problem in escapism for me is not admitting to yourself that you're escaping. Like whenever you're just doing things and you're telling yourself, "I'm not an alcoholic. I just like having fun." It's like you're an alcoholic because you're escaping. That's okay. Just deal with it.
If you understand what it is, yeah.
Right, and
If
it's
you
like
don't,
it's
okay,
your
I get where
position
you're
in
coming
life
from.
isn't necessarily so negative as long as you understand it. It's like if you have an understanding of what you're doing, you're not in denial of everything that you do, then you have a path.
That also shouldn't be an excuse to be a shitty person.
Well, that's true, but I'm not saying nobody. But I'm saying like just because you are experiencing escapism doesn't mean you're a shitty person.
No, I'm saying, yeah, that's correct, but you also shouldn't be the person who's like, do all this shit and be like, I understand what I'm doing, and
Not
then you
like that.
continue to do it,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right.
That's right.
Obviously, you shouldn't be a piece of shit and then say, well, you know what? As long as I understand, I'm a piece of shit. You know, living in the toilet's not so bad.
That's fair. Yeah, you definitely shouldn't do that. You know what I mean? So, I mean, definitely find things you love to do. Find things that you enjoy in life. Just allow yourself to enjoy things. And love the things that you do, you know what I mean? If you're doing things just to do them or to be like, this is who I am, I mean, I'm not saying that's wrong, but maybe you should actually take a moment to sit with yourself. And if you can't sit with yourself for a few minutes, maybe you should take a moment to be like, why can't I sit with myself? Because if you can't sit with yourself for 5 or 10 minutes without doing anything, I'm not saying that's necessarily a problem, but you should probably take a look in the mirror and think, is there, like, what's really going on?
Where I'm at is like restrictions only really exist because someone somewhere tried something and it didn't work out for them. Or maybe it worked out for them and it was a bad result for everyone else. But the fact of the matter is that restrictions exist because someone did something. So if someone's trying to restrict you from doing anything, understand that someone's already done it. So if that person found success in it, or really what I'm trying to say is to not allow anyone to restrict you from doing anything, because the past does not equal the future. Just because someone had a result from their formula doesn't mean that you will have the same. Doesn't mean you have the same formula. Maybe you just want this like a similar result and you're trying something new, but someone says you can't do that because they found failure in it. And it's like that happens really like so much more than you might think. It's like that's not allowed. Why? Well, because this person did this and this happened. It's like, well, I'm not that person. This isn't that time, and I'm also not in that state of mind to be on that. So like for you to say I can't do it because one other person acted out, it's like obviously you can extrapolate this like across murder and things like that to try to prove my like point wrong, but that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is like whatever you want to do with your life, career wise, hobby wise. If you think that someone's telling you that you can't do it, probably just attribute that to them not being able to do something, not you. Nobody can set restrictions for you but yourself in this life.
All in all, no one really has all the answers. We're not too sure of what's going on. Find your truths. Be true to yourself. Try to be the best person you can be. And be passionate. Love as hard as you can. And, you know, give things your all sometimes. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to give things your all. Also, don't trust everything you read. Don't trust everything you see. I'm not saying what we say is right, of course. Take everything with a grain of salt, even whatever we say. And, you know, if it resonates with you, it resonates with you. But, you know, you can't, to be someone who says this is this or this is that, unless you know 100%, don't just necessarily fall for it. And I mean, that's the whole point of kind of everything that we've been saying. And I hope you enjoyed most of what we said today. It's been real fun. We are on, just follow our personal Twitters for right now, since we are in the middle of a rebranding. Mine's going to be Rad Dude Dandy.
Mine's at Josh_M7 on Twitter.
Yep, and then
Go ahead.
I was going to say we're going to have a lot more coming. This is, you know, our first time back. It's been a fat minute long hiatus per se, and you know we're gonna have way more to come. This is gonna be fine and dandy. Got anything to say to the people, Josh? Anything you want to end off here?
I guess appreciation for everyone who's still paying attention, even though we've had, like we've said, a hiatus. If anyone who and everyone who views this video is going to definitely be thanked personally by me, because it's a journey, bro. It's like anyone who really views this and like watches it to the end, to hear me say this, like really, like thank you. Like I wouldn't be able to do this without you, and I appreciate being able to do this. So stay tuned. Got a lot coming for you guys.
Love everybody. Y'all take care. Thank you so much.